Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Najib Asyraf bin Makbul, 1171036, third year counseling students from TAB4, and today I will present about my thesis proposal with the topic the effect of trauma and psychological well-being on the accident victims among USIM students. The purpose of this research is to study the effect of trauma and psychological well-being on the accident victims among USIM students to see how a traumatic event, which are accidents, can have an effect to the student's psychological well-being, whether it is positive or negative. The problem statement for this research are, according to Bukit Aman Investigation and Traffic Enforcement Director Dato Azizman alias said, between January to June 2019, about 281,527 accidents have been reported all over the country. In the past year, Selangor recorded the highest number of deaths for accidents in 2018, where about 548,598 cases and only 1.1% involved deaths. From the problem, we can see that accidents are a common thing that happen in our life, whether it happened to us or our relative or the people that are close to us. So that is why I want to do a research about this topic, which are my most concern are for the students of University Science Islam Malaysia. The research question and research objective for this topic are: the first research question is, what is the effect on traumatic situation and well-being after the incident? What is resilience involvement towards well-being after the trauma? What is the relationship between the effect of trauma and psychological well-being on the accident victims among USIM students? While the research objectives are to explain the factors effect on traumatic situation and well-being after the incident, to identify resilience involvement towards well-being after the trauma, to study the relationship between the effect of trauma and psychological well-being on the accident victims among USIM students. The theory that I use for this research are behavior therapy that was developed by John B. Watson in 1913. There are two major types of conditioning, which are classical conditioning and operant conditioning. The therapy that I use for this research are systematic desensitization, which are under classical conditioning. The aim is to remove the fear of a phobia or trauma and substitute a relaxation response to the conditional stimulus, gradually using counter conditioning. In the Islamic perspective, every Muslim will be tested in any way that is suitable to him, and the burden that they need to bear will not exceed beyond their capabilities, like Allah stated in the Quran. Allah does not charge a soul except with that within its capacity. And one of the best form of armor we can equip ourselves with is to protect our connection with Allah during difficult time, is to strengthen it during times of ease and stability. Meaning that when we are at our ease, when we are having peace, when we don't have any trouble or struggle, that is the most important and crucial time for us to build and to strengthen our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we practice this mentality in our thoughts and actions during good time, it is easier to tap into the resource during struggles. The research design for this proposal are: it is a quantitative research design, it is an experimental design to establish cause and effect in this research, and it is a descriptive survey design. The sample that I take for this research are the students from the Faculty of Leadership and Management in USIM as a population, 100 FKP students that experienced accident trauma in the past, and there are no age limits, and it can be male or female that can be the sample for this research. The instrument that I will use to measure the client, to measure the surveyor, I will use the trauma history questionnaire that was developed by Bonnie L. Green in 1993, a series of questions about serious or traumatic life events, which consist of 24 items with nominal scale, yes and no. And the second instrument that I will use is psychological well-being, that is the 18 items, which was developed by Carol D. Reeve in 1995. A shortened version of 42 items, which scale measures 6 aspects of well-being and happiness, consists of 18 items in total with 7-point Likert scale. The procedure that I will take is receive a telephone call or WhatsApp, invited to do a face-to-face interview and answering a questionnaire. Then the researcher will explain about the confidential instruction. And for the last one, the client was given 30 minutes to answer the question. The data analysis that I use for this research are: I will use statistical package for the social science SPSS as the main tool to analyze this data. Number 2, employ an exploratory and descriptive approach to analyzing the data involving frequency, counts, and percentage analysis. Third, I will use a multiple regression analysis for this research. And the fourth one is experimental design. That is all from me. Thank you very much, and I will hope that my research will get supports from everyone. I will get supports from my lecturer, from my supervisor, and students that can help me to contribute in answering the questionnaire that I will distribute. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.